Good, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about sports movies, all right? And, what makes a good sports movie? Reasons why sports movies are good. Most sports movies are all similar, obviously. Well, not obviously, but, if you watch like 4 or 5 sports movies, you can tell that the storyline isn't the same, but it's like same results, same kind of like the gist of it's kind of the same, even if it's the same sport, it's all the same stuff. So I have 5 points that I'll be talking about. First point that makes a good sports movie: the underdog story. A lot of movies, it's an underdog story, so there's always that team or the player that's not as good in the beginning, and you know they're not as good, and then something happens, like they get a new coach, they train harder, they get better, and they just end up being the best team at the end. What makes an underdog? No one thinks you can do good, but at the end you end up doing good. Second reason, it's the process of getting better, like for the sports movies. So what I mean by that is the process. Like, after you figure out that the underdog is like not as good at the sport and they're like rated low, no one thinks they're good, the process of getting better is them working hard at trying to get better to be a better underdog. So when the season comes around, everyone's like, whoa, where did this guy come from? Or whoa, where did this team come from? How are they so good now? So usually in some movies it's them training or like team bonding exercises just as a team or a player training, the process of getting better. Number 3, you never know what's going to happen, honestly. Like, even though, as I said before, all the movies are like similar, you still never know what's going to happen. Like, in some movies, I know injuries happen a lot, or like even some movies, like, I hate to say it, but like there's some deaths that happen that like affect the whole storyline. Yeah, it's like more negative things because you're like, whoa, how did that happen? Or why did that happen? Or like maybe like a trade from a team. You never know what's going to happen, honestly, because, a movie's a movie. If you've never seen it before, it's going to be, you never know what's going to happen. All movies are different in their ways, but in sports movies, the total gist is the same, not like what's going to happen, so you never know what's going to happen. Number 4, it's suspenseful at the end. I feel like every sports movie is suspenseful at the end. It's either the championship game or, a game that's really important. Like, I feel like it's always like, oh, the underdogs are now playing the best team in the league, like for the championship. Like, it's something like that. And most of the time they end up winning because, underdog story, as said in point 1, it's always suspenseful, but not all movies actually end with a win or something positive, but most do. Even if it's not like the team winning, it's like personality or and mental wise, it's positive. Like, hey guys, we had a great year, let's get them next year. So it's always suspenseful at the end. And then number 5, I put camaraderie, because most teams in sports movies, they might not be like together as much, and as the season goes on or as the practices go on, they start to create a bond, just like real sports, like in real life. That's why sports movies are so good, because it resembles like real life sports, because you can't really fake sports. Like, you can't be like you can have fiction sports movies, like stuff that's never happened, like not based on a true story, but like all sports are the same, all sports stories. So like camaraderie, it always happens in real sports. From my experience from camaraderie, football, the bond that we all have with each other, it's great, it changes a person. So basically the movie I watched was Sandlot. I love that movie. I rewatched it. I've seen it before. So basically how Sandlot goes to my 5 reasons. So the main character, Smalls, he moves to the town and he sees the baseball field with all these guys in it, and basically he's like, I want to play. So he walks up, he starts playing with these kids. He's not doing too well, and then I'll always remember the scene. You're killing me, Smalls. That's a classic. So basically, he's an underdog, the kid, and how he gets better, like the process of getting better. He keeps working, keeps playing with them. He gets better, and another big point for camaraderie with Smalls and the rest of the group. You know, they're not just baseball players; they're just kids playing in the Sandlot. So he, becomes friends with them. The ball goes over the fence. He's with them trying to get the ball back. Even though it's the Babe Ruth signature ball. So there's always a problem too in sports movies, and so you never know what's gonna happen. That's my third point. You never know what's gonna happen with that movie because you're like, oh, why is Smalls bringing a Babe Ruth signed baseball to the Sandlot, and then it gets hit over the fence. You're like, oh my god, like you didn't know that was gonna happen. And also at the end, when Babe Ruth's ghost comes, that's surprising. I was like, yo, it's Babe Ruth. So that's something, you didn't know was gonna happen. And then yeah, so that's how Sandlot kind of goes with my 5 points. Um, so I have two articles, outside articles relating with what makes a good sports movie. Oh, that was on accident. My bad. So then you have this article from Bleacher Report. I actually use Bleacher Report. I have the app on my phone for like sports updates. So they created an article, what makes a good sports movie. And one point that they said that then wasn't part of my 5 points was the actors have to look like they could actually play sports, which is actually kind of funny. But the examples they used were like people actually knowing how to swing a golf club and like a baseball bat. Because like you don't want an actor going in there and being like not knowing how to swing the bat because it won't look realistic. So the actor has to like look and actually like kind of be athletic. So yeah, that's what they did. The examples they used from this, obviously Space Jam, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. So it's kind of just fit that he was in a basketball movie. Then you got Blue Chips, another basketball movie with Shaq and Penny Hardaway, also professional athletes, but not even just professional athletes. Like there's some movies like where the actors aren't actually professionals, but they like either like have history, like they played in high school, or they're just like athletic and they can play the sport. So that goes along with Bleacher Report's article. I have another article, W Top News. One of the reporters said that it's not part of my 5 points. It probably should have been because it's actually a really good point. All sports movies need to inspire. So like it kind of goes along with my 5 points because like all those 5 points, like it's an inspiring like underdog. It inspires the underdog. So the point of inspiring, so like the underdog upsetting the best team in the league, or something like Rudy. I didn't pick that movie, but that's a good movie to go off of, and it was put in the article. So it's Rudy running out of the Notre Dame tunnel, one of the greatest college football teams, like in the 80s, running out of the tunnel, getting goosebumps, like, whoa, like this is really happening. Like Rudy's going onto the field with the team. And when he finally gets in the game, it's truly inspiring because how much he worked to play football at Notre Dame, and he could actually like play, from being on the practice squad. So that's a good article, inspiring. So that's basically all I have. Sandlot, great movie. If you haven't seen it, I don't think I spoiled it too much. Like I only said a couple things that are usually on like the internet, like clips. So I didn't spoil it too much. If you haven't seen it, it's been out for a while. It's a must watch though for a sports movie. They I actually saw a thing about Sandlot, like of all the actors as kids, they came together. Like nowadays as adults, and it's pretty cool to see all of them like throw around a baseball again. So yeah, Sandlot, sports movies, gotta love them. Peace out.